Welcome to the Stories of Starting podcast. I'm Heather Boyd. As a self-employed artist for the last 30 years, I'm fascinated with people's passions and creative projects. In this series, we discover how people like you have started new projects by thinking outside the box, going with the flow, and tapping into their childhood imagination. Hey everybody, I'm here today with my great friend Sarena Miller, and I'm going to get Sarena to introduce herself and just tell us a little bit about what you do.
So thank you so much for having me, Heather. I'm super excited to be here. You are an inspiration to me. I love everything that you do, so it's really an honor that you're inviting me to speak here. And so I'm Sarena, of course, Sarena Dawn, and I am entrepreneur / artist.
Yes.
So I think my job is really to bring a voice and beauty and help other people bring their gifts and their light to the world with the work that I do.
I love it. And I always love to start the podcast with telling people how we met. And so many moons ago, I would say about 10 years ago, my friend Nadia El Khoury opened the Viva Vida Art Gallery in the Point Claire Village. And I was doing art workshops and things downstairs in their basement. And one day you walked down the stairs with your husband Eric, and you came into the basement, and we're getting a little tour. Nadia was telling me about the gallery, and you introduced yourself and had me your business card. And you talked about your networking group, the We Two Network. And I was super fascinated, had no experience with networking, lived in my little bubble doing my artsy thing, and a lot of craft stuff with kids and art. And I said, wow, this is a great idea. And so I went to the first meeting at in those old triangle buildings.
Oh my goodness, yes.
At 7 a.m. So I must have been super attracted to get to know you, to get up at that early, ungodly hour. And so that's where our friendship began.
I remember that day very fondly, and these magical moments.
Yeah.
I mean, you just open a door, like literally open a door. I don't even know what brought me to the gallery.
Yeah,
but it was a magic. Yeah, fate.
Definitely
it was a magical
fate.
moment, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Exactly. Yeah. So Sarena, why don't we start by telling us a little bit about We Two and how you got started with that and what it is.
Sure, absolutely. So, and I'll just preface it by saying we don't get up at that ungodly hour anymore.
No.
So, I'm happy to say we do things a little
lunch
later.
Is much more civilized.
It is. I agree. That's my quiet time in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's an organization for women who are in business or professional women looking to grow their skill set, looking to connect with other women doing the same thing. By same thing, I mean, of course, build a business.
Yes.
So we get together to connect for live events. We have online workshops. We do, book of the month. So we have all kinds of tools and resources, and we make new friends, as you can see, who support. So we support each other along the way.
Absolutely, it's such an amazing group, and along the way, you've offered many programs within this umbrella. And the first program I did with you was the Focus 5 program, which was sort of a mastermind kind of group. And I'd heard about mastermind groups before, and it was just so wonderfully convenient to have one locally. And so that was amazing, and that kind of morphed into your online program. So can you tell us a little bit about Focus 5 and what it's become today?
Absolutely, yes. I loved having you in the group, and it was wonderful to see you every week and to watch, all of the amazing things. And so it was about group contribution.
Yes.
How it started was really people coming to events like We Two, and because I had a background in sales and marketing, and I have the artistic eye, so I really enjoyed branding and stuff like that. So people would ask me, how to grow your business, but they'd say, we want more. We want more than just a monthly event. We want more from you. So can you create something? So really, it was organic.
Yes.
It was absolutely organic. I said, okay, and just started. And so over the years, what I discovered was that we were all kind of in the same place, in that we struggled with the same things.
Yes.
understanding what we're really selling and our value and our worth, and processes and procedures, and how to sell, how to write, how to express really what is in our soul.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. So over the last almost 10 years, that's what I did. So it started live with you at Focus 5. So we called it Focus 5 because focus, that was a crucial word, right? Yes. And we were five women plus me. So between four and 5 women plus me.
Right.
And then what happened was I had 1 year where I just couldn't take on any more groups, so organically, and I knew that would be the way I was going to go in the future. So I said, let me put all of this knowledge in this pathway, because it really became a pathway, like step 1, step 2, step 3. Let me put it online, and so thus was born the Academy for Business Betterment.
Amazing. And I went through the program and loved it, and have learned so much along the way. It's really been amazing, and it's so interesting, the diverse group of women that are in the program. And then Sarena created these little pods where we would get together with our pod and go through the material and bounce ideas off each other. And I know, for example, my daughter Mimi, who also did the program, she actually came up with brand new branding thanks to the pod in the group, and which has completely transformed what she's doing as well. And so we always get so many ideas from each other, even if we're in very diverse lines of work or products.
Yeah, that is so true. I love that you say that. And it is, when I started Focus 5, now it's a little bit different, but when I started Focus 5, my first thought was, we need people from different areas. We need the artists, we need the financial people, we need the people who are so, because everybody has a different strength, and we can see things from a different perspective, you know, and we're all still going towards the same goal of building something that's building a business that thrives, but one that speaks to who we are and the gifts that we want to share with the world.
Exactly. And so tell us a little bit about, because all of what you do does revolve around community and the networking and the community building. So can you talk to us a little bit about community and how important it is to you?
Well, super important. One of the biggest gifts, and of course our friendship that's developed over the last few years, I mean, I'm almost searching for the words to it goes so far beyond business.
Yes.
And it's so important to surround ourselves with people who understand the whole person. And because it's being human. And so when we connect with other people, and especially live, or especially on a regular basis, we can go through the ups, we can go through the downs, we can celebrate our wins, we can ask questions, get help, ideas. You've been such an inspiration to me with your incredible work and your Start by Starting, and all of the amazing successes that you've had have really inspired me. I mean, I know that I've also learned from you about YouTube and social media and all the power of that. So when we share ideas in the community, and we know that someone has your back and someone's there when you can go to them for answers, you can get help, you can ask the questions, and they're also there when you're going through life stuff. And that's been one of the biggest gifts, if not the biggest gift, funny enough, that the We Too and the Academy has given me. Is like, as you know, my little Frida passed away, my dog, and the outpouring of support that has come has just been so touching and moving. I've been there for marriages. I've been there for friends who've given birth, so it goes, you don't expect those gifts, but these women are my family, and I think that it's my closest friends and family.
I feel totally the same way, and it's the same for, like, a lot of people tell me that I go out so much, and I go to these events and to networking or to like comedy and all these different events, but it's so much more than that. It's not just going out to be entertained. You're going out to make connections, to be inspired, really, to get so much inspiration. Like, we can't live in our little bubble and not go out. And sure, it's great to go online and to meet people and build community online, but offline as well is equally as important. That's for sure.
I completely agree. The energy is different.
Yeah.
The energy is different. There's nothing like, hugging someone or shaking someone's hand or
Yeah.
looking them in the eye, like without a screen behind,
Yeah.
Between,
definitely.
I should say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And actually, this might be a good way to segue into another question that or question or comment that I had about your love of nature, because I know for a long time you were a little bit resistant to do a lot of online stuff because of you're very grounded, you're very connected to nature, to animals, and I wanted to know a little bit about how you find balance in your life of doing, the necessity of the online, plus being grounded and connecting with nature as well.
So for me, nature is a pillar. It is one of the greatest healing tools that we have.
True.
I think that when we are alone in nature, and by alone I mean you can be with, I think quiet time is crucial. I think that we're glued to our phones far too much. And I'm not saying that online is not important. It is. I do my work online.
Definitely.
And it's important, but I think if we don't take enough time to sit in stillness in nature or to walk through nature, no matter the season, we lose sight of the truth. Our truth, the bigger picture, what's really important,
Yes.
And I think that when we're quiet and we're in nature and we step away from the constant reaction mode, and we can connect with our power and our creativity and our inspiration. And so instead of always being reactive to the world that's around us, which is what these social media networks tend to do to us, what the phone, the addictions to the phone and the TV, and everything's always on, we're always reacting. Instead, you can become proactive about what's really important in my life, what do I really want. You feel connected and powerful, and I feel like everybody needs that. Whether they know it or not.
No, definitely. I know we always make a point to go for a walk outside and try to spend as much time as nature as possible. I mean, it's hard as an entrepreneur because so much of what we do is online now. But it's interesting about just the other day I was having a conversation with Mimi about a friend of mine who gets very political and very kind of angry and upset, and she asked me this question the other day, and it hadn't even occurred to me, but she asked me if the fact that this person is so active on Twitter and so has that affected their aggressivity, and I said, wow, that's a good observation and question, because I haven't even thought of it, but it's true. Within the last couple of years, this person is a lot more I would just say aggressive, verbally aggressive than ever before. And you got to wonder, wow, is it the effect of picking battles on Twitter? Maybe it is. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's really astute. I think that's a very good observation too.
Exactly.
I tend to lean to that probably is the. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist.
I know.
But I think so, and I think that there's a place for online. So there's a place for it. And there's a difference between being active and being productive.
Yes, that's right.
Very big difference. And so I think that when we are quiet and we leave the phone at home, and we reconnect to nature, what happens is we understand, okay, what needs to get done.
That's right.
We don't sit with ourselves enough to really know and to hear. The voice is there. It's there.
No, that's true.
And when you combine that with the power of nature, magic happens. And so
I don't know if it was you that shared that meme on Facebook about, or maybe it was Dana, that it said, if you're feeling anxious, go outside. Was that you that shared that?
I don't know anymore.
It's a good one though.
I saw that go by for sure.
Yeah. I'll have to find that one. That's funny.
Yeah.
So Sarena, I'm going to just backtrack a little bit more.
Please.
And I'd love you to tell the story about when you were a little girl selling your little greeting cards. So please tell us that beautiful story.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you. So when I was a kid, I used to go, one of my activities was going door to door. I lived in a building in Montreal. I think it was a 3-story building.
Okay.
And I was allowed on my floor, and I would create these handmade colored greeting cards.
Wow.
And I would go door to door selling them for 25 cents. So I would knock on the door, and I guess nobody saw anybody through the peephole, so they'd open the door, and there was this little 5-year-old kid, you know, with her, all my greeting cards like fanned out, you know. And, you know, do you want to buy one? And people did.
Oh,
they were 25 cents, and some people bought my cards.
That's amazing. So complete foreshadowing of becoming an artist and selling your work.
Absolutely.
I just love that because, and I know that's something that you talk about in the Business Betterment program, is when you begin the modules, you talk about like going back into our childhood and finding out things that we did that you know, that you might have forgotten about, but things that have honestly like affected what we do as adults, which is so interesting. Actually, my mom used to pay me 25 cents to make the salad every day.
Are you kidding?
Seriously.
Oh.
So which is probably why I A, love bunnies, and B, am you know, I'm not a vegetarian, but I'm a wannabe. I'm definitely a wannabe. But I eat salad every day. I'm obsessed with it. So it's funny that these things. Plus, I think it also instilled my entrepreneurial spirit of like doing something for money. You know, it was
creating for money.
Creating for money.
That's it. Absolutely. And you love taking the pictures of your food.
Now taking pictures of food and all that. So
and all that.
Everything makes sense.
Going to different restaurants. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, my mom always used to talk about the great plan, you know, and we used to tease her and laugh at her. But it's like the more I live and the more I experience, the more I realize that whether it's predicted or not, like things just make sense. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, it's incredible.
Yeah. And if you look back and you see, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is what I was drawn to naturally as a child.
No, it's true.
And you can be raised in the same house as like a sibling, and they're drawn to something totally different. You know, it's almost it's weird. It's awesome. Yeah.
So you must have spent a lot of time drawing and painting when you were a child. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of time drawing, and that was my favorite, drawing and painting.
Amazing.
And I was also hyper. I ran around a lot.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
The artist, the entrepreneur, bringing those together, you know? That's what I do today, too. It's amazing,
That's so cool. And so then you went to university and studied film studies, I believe?
Yeah, so I went to university. I studied film production.
Okay, cool.
Making movies, and I studied painting and ceramics.
Oh, very nice mix.
So,
wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I found the film was a little too technical, so I did my required 2 years, and then I stopped, and then I went back and said, you know what, I need something more tactile,
a little more
hands-on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you within the film studies, because I thought it was interesting about the whole concept of storytelling, and how with films are all about storytelling, and how this probably you know, intertwines with what you do with your marketing. You know, like, would you say you acquired any knowledge in the film studies that might have helped you with the marketing and building businesses?
That is such a great question, and nobody's ever asked me before. I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, probably. I wasn't. I was more of a spontaneous filmmaker.
Okay.
So it was spontaneous documentaries or experimental films.
Oh, interesting.
So the story was almost like a painted story.
Okay.
If I used to manipulate
like
the
abstract.
Abstract films.
Interesting.
And documentary.
Okay.
So
Wow.
And so that was more my process. And so actually, funny enough, writing this story was something I struggled with.
Interesting.
And it was a film teacher, I think it was Dan Cross, who also was a spontaneous documentary filmmaker. He used to make films of the squeegee kids downtown.
Oh, fun.
And homeless, the homeless people in Montreal.
Yeah.
And he was really cool. So he told me to embrace who I am.
Yes.
As a filmmaker.
Okay.
And he didn't try to fit me in a box, which was really helpful. And I think that's kind of what I do, I guess, for people now. When it comes to art and business.
Yes.
Is that you can do it. And I'm not saying there's not things we have to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's things we have to do, and there's certain things. But at the same time, it's like there's a way to bring out your gifts.
So that's pretty well exactly what you're doing then.
I think so.
Yeah. So it makes total sense.
Yeah.
You're doing exactly what he sort of suggested. Yeah. Because that's really what you do in the Business Betterment program, is to pull stories out of people so they can use these stories to build their business.
Absolutely, in a way that feels authentic for them.
Yes, exactly.
And organic for them.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's a stretch. Like sometimes, if you're going to be writing, writing your first things might be daunting.
Yeah.
Doing your first Facebook Live might be daunting, right?
Yes.
So there's a difference, but when you're coming at it from a place that feels good,
yes,
it changes. Yes, there are always going to be, we gotta strive, and we gotta try things that we haven't tried before, and
that's right.
But that's a different feeling, I think, than trying to box yourself into a should because you think everybody should be doing it.
That's right.
I don't think that any one person has a should.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Yeah. And I know my one of my mentors, Gabby Bernstein, she has her own online program to help light workers and entrepreneurs as well. And something that she stresses is that you're not there to sell, you're there to share. And so the more you focus on sharing rather than selling, the selling will come as a byproduct of you sharing. And that's what I've found actually with what I'm doing now with my Facebook groups, because I have a Facebook group for wire art and jewelry makers, and I'm building up this group and sharing inspiration amongst themselves. And coincidentally, my Etsy sales have skyrocketed this year because it's just being out there sharing. It's the energy you put out, and I find that it makes a huge difference, and I'm not focusing on the selling. I'm just focusing on helping people solving problems, and then getting inspired in the process as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, I'm happy to see you more online now, because I know for a long time, like I said, you were a little resistant about it, but I find that I feel that you're having more fun with it now.
Yes,
which
that's
is important.
The idea. Yes,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
not. I think before, a lot of people consider it to be drudgery and dread it, but when you embrace it in a way that it's a game, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Then it's a lot more easier to handle and
absolutely
definitely.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So what are some of your future goals, or your some new projects that you're working on?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Okay, so I'm going to be working more on the academy.
Yes.
So for sure, that's always something that's really important to me, is like giving people that pathway.
Yes.
So they can take that magic and share it. Because it does no good if we're just keeping it to ourselves, right?
That's right.
So it does nobody any good. So there's that. And
will you be launching like another another startup date for the
absolutely
program?
Yeah,
okay.
Come spring, come March.
In the spring?
Yeah,
perfect. We'll look out for that. And I'll link up everything in the description
thank you
as well.
so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so that's fun, and it's an incubator. So I have some things also that I'm excited to do there, for something like some Facebook Lives and all that stuff. And,
fun.
And then I actually just started a new project.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just launched. It's actually something that was in the background for a really long time, many years, and it was actually through my community and speaking with the community, and it was a couple people in We Too who just gave me the signal. It was just like I went to Sheila, I went to and it was like now.
Okay.
And then my partner Eric, my husband, also he was like,
okay.
And then and Danielle Soiree also.
Yes.
So so I came home and I was just like, and there we launched the return.
Yes, wow.
The return. So that is something that's really important to me, because for me it's like it's like the middle of everything that I do.
Yeah.
It combines art, nature, and women, building community, entrepreneurship, embracing your gifts.
Okay.
So it's actually women's retreats into nature where we're going to do art.
Oh, nice.
And and I launched a Facebook group for that as well.
Yes.
So anybody who wants to, talk about the power of nature. And so I'm hoping to encourage people to get out more.
Yes.
To listen to their own voice, turn off the phone, turn off the TV, turn off that stuff, and just go out and just be with yourself and nature.
Beautiful.
And reconnect with your own creativity and your, your femininity and adorn yourself with beautiful
Okay.
jewelry like what you make,
Beautiful.
with, have fun
Wow.
dressing up yourself and your life. So very, very excited about that. I'm really
Wow.
excited. So that's the return.
So will that's going to be retreats? Will you also do local workshops in Montreal?
I'm thinking yes.
Yeah?
So
Okay,
yeah, I'm
cool.
thinking yes, either locally and yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm going with the flow with that one. So I
Fun.
have a couple of ideas like
Okay.
for Halloween next year. There's gonna be something special
Oh,
for
cool.
Samhain. There's gonna be a full moon and
Wow.
so lots of special stuff happening for that with the return.
Nice.
And more art also.
More art,
So
yes. Yeah, because I was remembering a few years ago I went to an art show that you had at the sushi restaurant, and you had a lot of like very large, impressive pieces.
Thank
like,
you.
I think some people don't realize just how much art that you create. You know, you have your big paintings, you have your illustrations, you made that book. What was that book that you made?
My Little Guidebook to Very Big Dreams.
I love that book. Do you still
Thank
have
you.
those books?
I have a few.
Okay,
I have
those
just
were
a few.
special. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized how much art I have.
Oh my goodness! And then you were working on some crowns as well. Yeah.
Yes.
And so possibly working on Etsy shop.
Yeah.
So it's coming up.
I might do that. I might do
I think
that.
you need to share your art with the world a little
I do
more.
too. Yeah, I've revived
definitely.
my Facebook art group.
Nice.
I have now like a little website. At least it's a landing page for now. And
Okay,
so all my
cool.
photos are taken. And
Oh, that's amazing.
so yeah. So I had my kind of. I like to say it's like now, soon, later.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I do a lot.
Yeah.
Like I have to make sure that I keep it all
Yeah.
priority and
Yeah.
so yeah, but you can do a lot, right?
Well,
You
yeah,
can.
you can, and I think you're right. We can't put too much pressure on ourselves. Like I
Yeah.
know I wanted to have like a big show of some of my work, but I just the artwork I've kind of had to put on hold because other things take priority.
Yeah.
But it's. I mean, you hear about people in their 80s having their first vernissage. So, I mean, I'm totally cool with that if I live that long. But hey, it's just you just do things in the time frame that you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. But just love what you're doing at the moment. That's the main thing.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that also sometimes it's like sometimes you have to focus love what you're doing in the moment,
Yeah.
focus on one thing, and once something's running, so this is something I've learned being a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur. And you look at these people like who are amazing and they have a bunch of businesses.
Yeah.
We all know business moguls who.
Right.
I look at people like even on Shark Tank. I'm like, how do they do all that? Yes, they have teams and they surround themselves with good people. But you can do a lot. I think it's just about also understanding what something's going to take.
Yes.
So that I think only comes with experience.
Yes.
And so sometimes if you're it's hard to, one thing I've learned is it's hard to start two things.
Yeah.
But once something's going, it's very different to get something else going because
That's
it has
right.
some momentum and traction, and you don't want to drop it per
That's
se, but
right.
if you know what it takes to keep that moving, or
That's right.
that's less important to me now, also that's some things. So I always like to measure things by like time, money, passion, and energy.
Yes, I remember we did that exercise in the Focus 5.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So depending on where you're at,
Yes.
you can do different things. And so as long as you're taking stock with yourself and you're listening and you're like, okay, like for me, I pulled out all my stuff. I was cleaning out my office and my studio. And I was like, oh, I do have a lot more work than I thought.
Yeah.
So then maybe I could put together a show because I don't have much to do, right?
That's
like
right. That's
so
right.
depending on where you're at and what you're working on.
Yeah. No, I love that. So do you have any like little downloadables that people could get some of these tips from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I share this kind of information on businessbetterment.com.
Okay, cool.
So if people subscribe there, I have something now called the Sweetest Sales Kit Ever.
Cool.
So that's good because it sort of shows you a daily checklist to sort of keep you on track, but it also, you connect with also like, okay, what am I here to do and how you share gifts. So it's all the things that I think will help people keep what's important at the forefront.
Right.
And so I have exercises and like that that I can share.
Okay.
And I believe I have some sheets or downloads, or
Okay.
I'll be creating probably some content, maybe even a live tutorial on how to use something like that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So if they sign up there, as soon as that's available, I can let people know.
That's right, and you're going to be doing some tips on YouTube as
I
well.
am,
Can't wait for that. That's
Super inspired
awesome.
by you. I had started a long time ago, and then
that's awesome. Yeah, we'll get
stopped,
together
but
and we'll work on that.
I'd
for
love
sure.
that.
And I remember you had a downloadable about networking as well, because that's
Yes.
your forte, of course.
I do.
Do you still have that?
I do. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I took it offline. Now I give. If you go to we2network.com, it's 7 steps to rock your biz. So
Awesome.
7 really important things I think that every entrepreneur should focus on.
Okay.
But I do have the downloadable. So
Okay.
maybe what we can do is create something that I
Yeah.
can make that available for your listeners.
That would be awesome, and I will
Cool.
put the link in the description for sure.
Amazing. Okay.
Cool. And then I just wanted to quickly touch on, because you'd mentioned about, a lot of these very successful entrepreneurs having teams. And I know I'm just at the point in my business where I'm starting to think about delegating and hiring, but it's a huge intimidating step.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, like, if you're starting to do that. Like, I know Sheila does a lot of the Facebook things,
Yes.
and you have other people that help with the networking events.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to people who are hesitating about building a team or delegating?
Yeah. That is a really good question.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. And I'll say it took me a while to find the right team.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went through some people and really nice people, and but it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
I could give a whole finding the right team. I think also something that, what's important to you. What's important to you with a team member is a good place to start. So sitting down with yourself and saying, what am I looking for? And I also take responsibility, like I'm learning also how to be a good team member myself, right? Is it clear what I need people to do? Is it, how can I give more encouragement? Something that, like, I'm a very do-it-yourself, like, starter, take initiative kind of person.
That's right.
So I kind of look for that in other people. I didn't realize that that's something that I really look for in a team member, is someone who's like, I don't have to micromanage. Like, you have to teach them stuff, and you have to know what you want. You got to be clear. So I always have to check in with myself.
Yes.
Am I doing everything I could do? And so in 2020, I'm actually really excited, because that's something I'm focusing on.
Okay, cool.
Is, am I being a good leader and team member and whatever it is, you know what I mean? So that people have what they need.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, what's important to me? Right? Okay. And one thing I think also is, I don't know if it's a woman thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a Sarena thing. So I tend to be very patient with people and give them a lot of chances and stuff. But I think that one thing that I've learned in my journey is also trust your gut.
Yes, true.
The only time I've ever regretted anything is when that little voice told me it's not the right fit. And that's not just with team members. That's with something I was doing.
Yes.
If it wasn't right, my gut told me it's not right. And your head starts to play with you. Well, blah, blah, blah. And maybe give them another chance. And then so I think one of the thing is, and I've heard other people say it since. So this is not from me, but it's something that now I've taken on, is kind of like, bring people in slowly and fire quickly.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
So I'm trying to be a little bit more like, you know what? It has to work both ways.
That's right.
I have people who volunteer. I have people who I pay. Like, so there's different things also who, I need, there's different people who do different things,
and I think you're right about following your intuition. And I think that's something that I really would like to work on this year, is just tapping more into my intuition, which brings us back to the whole idea of going out in nature, and which is the perfect opportunity to go out with your questions and your concerns and things you want answers to, and going out in the nature and just really tapping into that energy of trying to understand what your intuition is telling you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And not letting that little voice say, it'll be okay, or just look past it, or because the more you do that, you also start to lose that intuition. And sometimes, and I'm going here, I guess I wasn't planning on it, but sometimes I don't know, again, is it a heart-centered entrepreneur thing? Is it a Sarena thing? Is it a woman thing? I think I see this a lot in the work that I do with women, is that we're afraid of saying no.
Yes.
We're afraid of saying that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or like, we're afraid of saying this isn't the right fit.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether it's a client, whether it's a team member, whether it's something that we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so when we are quiet, we go in nature, whatever. Like if we tap in and not being afraid to piss people off, excuse my language, to hurt feelings. There's a way we can do this with grace.
It's so interesting because I again had this conversation with my daughter the other day, because she had a situation she had to regulate with a person, that their communication wasn't 100%. She wanted to express something to her friend, but didn't want her friend to get offended. Which is a lot of what our communication problems are basically right about. So I suggested, well, why don't you draft a note, draft a text, and together we could bounce ideas off it and work on it. So over the course of the evening, I think we were watching a movie or something, so over the course of the evening, she would have an idea, she'd write it down, she'd show it to me, I'd say, well, maybe just tweak this or that, and then I'd give it back, and then she'd have a better idea. So bouncing ideas off each other, because it's very hard to see things clearly just from your own perspective. And then finally she came up with a perfect text, sent it to her friend. It was late, so the next day got up and the friend had received the text and was very happy with the compromise. Everything was perfect. But had the text been sent before it was properly constructed, things could have got really messy. And so I think that's a real lesson in communication with team members, with network members, with like me and my Facebook group members. I have to be very, very careful about how I word things, because people take things extremely personally. And so I'm learning, I'm getting there too. So
absolutely. And having that 24-hour rule that you don't respond within at least 20. And that's something I also do. And again, I think it comes back to community or team or friends or family that you can bounce things off of. And so having that support, very important to give you perspective, especially if you're emotional about something.
Well, yes, exactly.
Right? Because you hear something and it's emotional, and you're probably not even seeing it clearly yourself, right?
Exactly.
So I have those people in my life too. I love it.
Oh, it's amazing. Actually, I met a person online that he lives in England, and he has a program that he developed. He's a self-help person, and his thing is called NPA, which stands for non-personal awareness, and he's all about teaching people how not to take things personally.
That's amazing.
I just love
I love that. That's fantastic.
It's so cool. I'll put a link to that too, because it's really, because that's what it's all about. If you want harmony in your life and in your business, you have to learn ways to communicate and not to take things personally when people say something that you might take the wrong way.
Absolutely. Was that in the book? And correct me if I'm wrong, in the 4 Agreements, was that one of the things? Don't take anything personally?
It's possibly. I don't follow that, but I know my sister's really into the 4 Agreements. But it
was a long time ago.
It's definitely possible.
Just came to me now.
Interesting. That's so cool.
It's so important. And sometimes we can't help it, and so we have a perspective. And
well, that's it. And sometimes we might say the wrong thing, but it can get fixed, if we backpedal a little bit and then, approach it again in a different perspective. So nothing is ever like completely lost. It's always fixable.
It is. It is. And I one person that I don't remember, it was like an event or speaking, it was somebody who had a lot of success, and he said, and this stuck with me forever, and Eric and I practice this. So if there's ever a time that you feel like you need to apologize, do so. And oftentimes, if there's anything that I feel like, did I say something funny? Did it come across the wrong way? And this doesn't happen very it doesn't
Yeah.
happen frequently, but
Yeah.
anytime I feel that way,
Yeah.
I live by the rule.
Yeah.
Listen, if I said that or whatever, and
Yeah.
if you took, if I just want to make sure that, like, you know, if I owe you an apology, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. And 99% they're like, what? No,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
don't worry, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's nothing. But I live by that rule that
Oh,
always, you
it's
know, if there's
amazing.
if
Just
there's
keep the door open to
Absolutely.
the possibility.
if
that-
there's ever
yeah.
a doubt in your mind that
Yeah.
that somebody may have been, you know, hurt by anything that you've done. Anytime that I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, did I say something, or was I not clear? I do that.
No, it's
Yeah.
good, and it's good for your own peace of mind to
Yes.
know that these things are you've done your possible to make things better. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
If they're like, yeah, you know what, I kind of hit a new consensus.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and of course you mean it, right? Like it's.
Well, that's
you
it,
know.
and I think it's also a role model to other people to feel that they can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think
And that
it's
also
great.
might be very Canadian of us too.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? That's it.
Yeah.
Cool. So anyway, Sarena, I think we could probably talk for hours and hours, but
100%.
at some point I have to go cut. But it was amazing
Thank you
having
so much, you
on the podcast. It's been months that I've been wanting to have you on.
I
And
know.
so we finally made it happen.
Yay!
And so I'm going to link up everybody's all your things in the description. But I would like you just to tell people the main places that we can find you online.
Okay, well,
Yes.
thank you so much. All right, are you ready? Get your pens and pencils out. Okay. So the first place is at businessbetterment.com.
Okay.
Businessbetterment.com. And then the second place is we2network.com. So that's
Perfect.
we2network.com. And then, of course, the project we spoke about, which is thereturn.ca.
Perfect.
Thereturn.ca. And then serenadawn.com is where you'll find my art.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the things.
Those are the four main sites, and then your links to your social media will be there as well.
Perfect.
And I'll
Thank
put
you.
everything in the show notes in the description, and
Okay.
so people can definitely find you online. And if you're in Montreal, you can. If you're a woman in Montreal, you could join the Women's Entrepreneurial Exchange and meet Sarena in person.
Love to meet you, and thank you
Cool.
so much. Thank you for everything you do and who you are. Oh, I should show everybody my sculpture.
Oh,
That I got,
sure.
yeah.
You can, if you want to show them.
I do, I do.
I could put a photo of it.
Yeah,
I'll
please,
link
let's
up a
do.
photo of
Okay.
Frida, because Frida has been immortalized in wire, and she inspired a beautiful new design. So
That I am absolutely in love with. It's like my
Aw.
favorite thing.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Stories of Starting. If you would like to inspire others with your story, big or small, be sure to reach out via storiesofstarting.com. Until next time, always remember, your story matters.